You're about to watch a free clip of Old School. If you like it, wait till you see the whole episode. All the episodes in their entirety are available for members. Become a member by going to tyt.com/join. All right, welcome to Old School. Cenk, Uygur, Steve-O with us today.
Surprise appearance?
That's right, I like it. Ben Mankiewicz with a very nice jacket. That's a sports jacket. Nailed it.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right, so here's the thing. You can tell right away he's a fashionable guy, and here's why. The jacket's perfectly nice, and I always see this jacket and think, that's a nice jacket. But I wouldn't have the courage or even the mindset to wear it with the zipper upper thing, right?
I've become a big fan of this, and it gets a lot of, I must say, it gets a lot of compliments.
Yeah.
Like I was at a TCM meeting today, and I came in, and the head of talent was like, "Did you do this yourself?"
Yeah. No, this is what I would see on the mannequin at the store. Like, I like this getup.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I'll take the whole thing. Right?
That's right. And because it shows a certain confidence that intimidates others into believing you know what you're doing.
That's right. Yeah, sure. I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Yes. So I could do this, like a regular button-down shirt and a jacket, or I could do this, slob, right?
Yeah.
But I can't do this.
Yeah, that's what
I think you could. You just have to do it once. I bought this jacket and another jacket. I splurged and spent a lot of money because I was depressed about gambling losses, and so I thought I'd
double down on consumer goods losses.
But it's like
I totally get that. You know why? Because for the first time you want to spend something money on something where you actually get something.
Right, but
it makes you feel good. Like, okay, no, I spent money, but I have a jacket.
But
nobody could take this jacket away.
Yeah, and it's also like the stimulus package. Like we're gonna buy our way out of trouble.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, that's a little less rational, but
It's not rational at all. But one of the many times we're in Vegas gambling, one of our friends, he instantly won like $800. So he said, "I'm gonna lose this money for sure. I'm gonna go downstairs and buy an $800 watch. I don't need a watch. I'm gonna just buy one because it's better than just losing it right away."
Disagree.
CJ.
yeah. So that's but kind of genius though,
Yeah, of course.
because he has that watch, and the chances of him losing that $800 was approximately
90%.
52%. No, I mean at least 52%, but maybe 98% depending on how long he played.
Yeah.
Right. And so on the other hand, that dude's pretty lucky. And
I didn't think of you, Sujay, because you guys tell all these stories about how lucky. We have now another friend like this that I don't. Well, you know him. You may have met him, but our friend Jake. Jake cannot stop winning things.
Yeah. He's what Trump told us about.
Yeah.
Like he's almost tired of winning.
Yeah, this guy Jake he won our little playoff fantasy thing for like the third time in 4 years. There was a 5-pick pool where you'd pick 5 games against the spread. He finished in the top 5 nearly every year. He won it, I think, once, if not twice.
Like nationally.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Well, is he lucky or is he just a genius?
I mean, he's an idiot. I've been to Vegas with him. He's like all of us. He's an idiot. He's a screenwriter. He's a good one, but he's not like super successful. He's not like made of money. And he just keeps winning. Like all these little things. Hey, you want to join our little fantasy league? 10-4. It's just everything. And he won thousands of dollars on FanDuel daily fantasy basketball. And I mean thousands of dollars. And I don't know if you guys have been to Dodger Stadium, but they play.
He owns it now.
They basically play Keno at Dodger Stadium. They hand out like a raffle ticket. It's $20. So obviously I do it every time. And then at the end of the night, there's $58,000 raised, and half of it goes to the Jimmy Fund or whatever, and then the other half goes to the one fan. Like it's a nice thing. They don't split it. It's not like it's one winner. He's sitting there with his family. $29,000.
Oh my God!
29,000. I thought he won like $100.
No, $29,000. Just went to his family.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, the guy can't stop winning.
Speaking of winning and not stopping winning, I won our fantasy football league again, and people are pissed about it, and they called me the Bill Belichick / Tom Brady of our league, which they thought was an insult, but I took it as a massive compliment.
Oh, no,
who called you that? What idiot called you that to give you that kind of a compliment? That,
I loved it.
Now cannot be turned back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the Mike Smith of our league.
The Buccaneers coach that lasted for like a year and a half and was known for being kind of a buffoonish
He went to the Falcons.
temper.
He went to the Falcons
coach.
And then he did a thing I really admired. He went for it on like 4th and 4 in overtime on his own 26 because he was like, if we punt the ball, they'll win the game. And and they got 2 yards and they turned the ball over. The other guys kicked a field goal and they lost. But I was like, I like it.
Yeah. No, my bad. Who am I thinking of? The guy who was a Rutgers coach and
Greg Schiano.
And then he became the Buccaneers coach and was like buffoonishly temperamental.
If you want, I thought Mike Smith was funnier because it's such a bland name. Fine, I'm the Greg Schiano.
No, Mike Smith's perfect.
Yeah.
I withdraw. Yes, that's bland.
But he actually, oddly enough, he was the Buccaneers defensive coordinator this year and he got fired like 3 games into the season. And then at the end of the season, he didn't have a job. He retired. He announced like, I'm not going to coach football anymore.
Yeah, but like when you got fired in week 3 and no one picked you up, it's not a lot of coverage of your retirement announcement, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And I
But
like
he's
Mike
back
Smith
though.
for you.
He's back in the league as a coordinator.
No,
that
he retired from football.
Schiano?
No, Smith.
Oh, Mike Smith.
Yeah, Schiano is somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get to politics because I'm actually amped up on politics in a sec. But I like Mike Smith as an analogy so much because people are like, I think, you know what? I think he could take the Falcons places. No, he couldn't.
Yeah,
no,
that's right.
No, we were wrong about him. No, he's as uninteresting as he sounds.
No, I think, and what's his name? Dan Campbell, whoever took him to the Super Bowl. Is that who took him to the Super Bowl? Is that their coach now? I have that wrong? No, that's wrong.
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn.
Yeah,
Sorry, Dan
Quinn,
Campbell was briefly the Dolphins coach. Dan Quinn replaced Mike Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Hold on, before you get there, I just want to say, so after they called me the Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, I was
I guarantee it was one.
It was one guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
One guy,
yeah.
and then I was enjoying that insult. Someone else said, well, thank goodness football is over. Now we have the fantasy basketball playoffs to look forward to. I was like, can you remind me who's the current champion of that?
No, this is
it was me again, right?
Unbearable.
So they're like, damn it. And then Dave Kohler sends this random screenshot of a draft that we did several years ago in fantasy football. Like, remember this year when we did this draft? I was like, yeah, who won that year? Right? It was me again. So now they've stopped all conversation.
Yeah, well, as we're about to. Okay.
Can't stop winning.
Yeah,
Just can't stop winning.
You and Jake. Sujay has the famous story where, Sujay taught me something, and then I actually want to tell you about how I taught my son how to gamble, which is a great story. Anyway, Sujay once shut down a casino. Now it was in Honduras, and it was at a hotel, but he won $5,000, and they just did not have any more money. Right. And so they were like, nope, sorry, casino is closed down.
This?
Okay, closed down. We no longer have any money. Like, people, what happened? That guy won it all. Okay, it's funny because it's only $5,000 to shut down a casino, but it's a good story, right?
Did he buy a $5,000?
Plus, it's $5,000.
Did he buy a $5,000 Honduran watch?
He did not. But here's what Sujay taught me about gambling. He's like, look, once you're up, go nuts, which is the opposite of the watch story, but that's what he's also.
That's why I was surprised that.
Yeah,
it was Sujay.
He's like, because then you're playing with house money, okay? And once you're playing with their money, make them pay.
No, that's literally what I mean. Last trip to Vegas, I hate playing blackjack now, but things worked out, and I won $500 very quickly, and I thought, great, I'm going to turn this into real money. I did not.
You pulled a Mike Smith.
Yeah, I went to bed that night even, and I haven't been close to even in the 6 weeks since we were there, or 5 weeks since we were there. Yeah. I've lost thousands and thousands of dollars.
So last thing about gambling is that, in Chinese New Year, you're supposed to gamble. So if you're been to Vegas or Atlantic City or any of these, gambling towns, if you're not familiar with it, you'd be surprised at how Asian everything looks, right? It's because
it's all red, right?
Yeah, it's all red. In Cosmopolitan or Aria, there's a giant golden pig, the size of a room, statue up now because it's the year of the golden pig in China. Because gambling is built into Chinese culture, and so of course it's stereotype. It's not a stereotype. Is every Asian person or Chinese person into gambling? Of course not, right? But here's what I mean by that. In Chinese New Year, you're supposed to gamble. Like the whole family's supposed to gamble, and you teach your kids how to gamble. So it's not surprising that it would be then create a culture that gambles more, and hence Vegas is trying to draw them in with the giant golden pigs, et cetera. Anyway, so and you get red envelopes. So the kids go quaila something, right? Gongshi, sheha, you get it. And then I can never remember it. Then the elders give them red envelopes, and inside of it is money. And then later you gamble with that money and you play dice. Okay, so but to double up the gambling, some of the parents that gave to Pro and Joy put scratch offs in there. Okay. So now if you get 3 of the same, in these particular scratch offs, if you get 3 of the same number, you're gonna get that amount, right? So there's $4, $8, $12, these are the increments. $100, $888. So Pro scratches off 2 $888 ones. Okay, and like, he's an 8-year-old. Okay, so he's like, boom, 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 boom. He's like, I could have 888 points, because I call them points when I give it to him for doing something good or getting something wrong, right? Deducted for doing something wrong. So he's like, oh my God, like he can't fathom what 888 points would buy him. Like that is unbelievable. And then he scratches off the rest. And of course he didn't win. So now instead of getting $5, he got those 2 scratch offs. And I said, okay, Pro, so if you had a 10% chance, because he understands percentages now, if you had a 10% chance of winning that 888, would you rather take that or the $5 that's just guaranteed, And he's like, oh, no, the $5. I'm like, wrong. The 10% is worth $88.80 because it'll happen 10% of the time. And I explained that concept to him. And he's like, And I think that I accidentally made a massive gambler out of him.
I don't know that it's so bad. I don't know that understanding that. I don't think that you can't convince me that being introduced to gambling like that at an early age is going to make you a dangerous gambler. I mean, it might work the exact opposite way.
Yeah, he's cautious by nature.
Yeah.
You know what? Later when we played dice, he still bets the minimum. I'm like, I look at him and I'm slightly disappointed.
Right.
But with me as a dad and a Chinese mom, and you go through this every Chinese New Year, if him and Joy don't become inveterate gamblers, we did something wrong.
I've told the story before, but it bears repeating at this point because I was at I've told it often, but I was at Mandalay Bay, and I was there with my friends, and when I want to gamble and I need to win, I don't want it's not fun, and I don't want anybody like joking around about the money I'm losing, right? So
I'm kind of with you on that.
Yeah, I know you are too. So I'm like, now I'm in a zone, not a good zone, it's not a healthy zone, but I got to get so I was by myself. I don't know if they were in the hotel or if I'd literally gone to another casino. But I'm sitting at a table by myself. It's a $25 table, and this is an era when a $25 bet was a big bet. I mean, it still feels like a pretty big bet, but it was a huge, we were always looking for the $5 and $10 table. $25 table. I have $25 on my hand, and there's one guy next to me, a Chinese guy, and he's got a Chinese guy behind him. You remember the story? Guy, and he's playing 2 hands, and he's got, I don't know, I think $500 in my memory. Big numbers on the hand, maybe $1,000 a hand. I get a 9 and an 8. I got 17 against a 9. Whatever. I've lost that hand 10 billion times. I know how this ends, right? And he has like a 3 and an 8 and a 4 and a 9, right? And he's got the 3 and an 8. That's 8. He hits it and he gets like a 5. He stays against the 9. I'm like, this freaking guy, right? And then the other one, he's got a 13, right? And he gets a 6. He's got 19. 3 cards on each. And then he wants to hit the 19. But he speaks no English. He's pointing down, making noises, right? Guy right behind him. Dealer says, you don't want to hit 19. Nobody hits 19.
It's crazy.
Right, it's crazy. He says, no. And then the dealer says, no, you want to hit this one, the one that has 13. Even though, mind you, he's already held on that hand and taken a card of the next hand. You can't go back and hit the other hand, right? That's elementary. But the dealer's so befuddled that he offers him that possibility. The guy goes, no, right? And then he calls the pit boss over. And the pit boss comes over, looks at it, and says the exact same thing. No, you want to hit this one. And I'm like, he can't hit that one. That hand's over, right? He's playing this hand. And then his friend leans in, and forgive the accent, but he leans in and his friend says, he big risk taker.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah.
Well, but this is insanity.
This is insanity,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, so I'm just sitting there watching. I'm thinking, yes, he is a big risk taker.
Well, you can't take that away from him.
And he gets a 10. So he got a 29. You don't see a lot of 29s at blackjack.
I've never seen a 29.
I've never seen one 29 in my life. That was it. Yeah. I think, defeated in 1917. I know I lost, and I left. That was the end of my experience with them, with the big risk taker. But I love his friend coming in to explain what was happening.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's helpful because people are like, what's he doing? And he's like, no, he means it.
Yeah,
he
no,
means
totally.
it.
The pit boss was there, and the deal. They were totally flummoxed and willing to change the rules of blackjack to accommodate this guy.
You know what? From now on, when I do something nonsensical, I'm just gonna lean in myself and go, I'm a big risk taker.
I'm a big
But
risk
you
taker.
could say it with an Asian accent, as Ben would have done it.
So apologies for the accent, but I didn't mean it pejoratively.
So I have a new rule for myself for gambling, and I've been pretty good about following it. I'm famous for making up rules for myself that I immediately break. But this one's been pretty good. So my rule is this.
You're the Bill Belichick of breaking self-rules.
Yes. So I only play blackjack at the casinos. And if you play long enough, you're gonna just lose, right? So I have a one shoe rule. So I play one shoe, whatever I win or lose, I'm done. I leave. And the reason why I've been abiding by this rule is mainly because I can't stand.
Like one shoe for that day, or like at a time, like
No, on that trip.
on that trip. So you play
Yeah.
one shoe of blackjack. That's it.
If I could last the whole shoe. If I get knocked out, I can go and try again. But
I got you, but you're gonna play. You're gonna play for
seems-
Yeah.
But you're gonna play for 13 minutes. That's it.
Right, max.
right.
And the reason why I've
There
been
seems
good,
a little wiggle room with if I get knocked out, I buy back in.
No, it's
but-
not. No, he's
not
just saying
really.
it's not a money limit.
Yeah, it's a time limit.
It's a time limit.
I got you. All right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But the reason why I can do this is because I can't take the smoke. Like I'm happy to get the hell out of there because the cigarette smoke. I've become more intolerant to cigarette smoke as I got older because I'm just not around it as much. When I was younger, more people smoked around me, so I was more used to it, I guess. But now nobody smokes around me, so when I smell it, I can't take it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it either. I don't like blackjack because I'm not good at it in the sense that I'm not. There's no skill in it. You play a certain way.
Yeah, it's just-
But there's money management, and I'm not good at that part of it. And I will get up $500 and leave. But if things go wrong and I lose $500, I'll spend $3,000 chasing the 500.
Right.
So what endeavor makes sense if your upside is $500 and your downside is down $3,000? Well, then
That's why the one shoe rule. You can't go down.
No,
too
it's a
much.
good rule. It's a good rule. I would like I think it would be okay with me if I never played, but that's not bad. Like, okay, I'll get a little thing. I'll wet my beak, as they say, and
Because
get
it
a
feels
little-
weird to not gamble at all when I'm
Right.
in Vegas. So I
Yeah,
just
what
do
are you,
a
a
little bit.
weirdo? Right, yeah.
Well, I
What
bet
kind of
mostly
psycho
though. I
is
just
it?
bet on sports. When I'm in Vegas.
Yeah.
No, I hate
Okay.
that.
So last thing before politics is back to jackets, because I almost said this point on the post game too, because we were somehow talking about jackets in the post game as well. Oh, because they were asked what kind of person has a velvet jacket, and I do.
I have one too.
Yeah. So, but there was a guy that I went to go play poker with, combine it with the gambling story, when I was in law school, and he had like a tan jacket, and underneath it a tan sweater. Okay, but like a kind of almost like a small V-neck, not a full V-neck, but a small V-neck, and with a little chest hair poking out. And I looked at the guy and thought, Saudi, okay, and because he looks unnaturally rich, and like the V-neck sweater with nothing underneath and a tan jacket on top of it, that's a Saudi look, okay, and it turns out Saudi. Okay, and then I thought, I'm in the wrong place because I'm dirt poor, right? We're about to play poker. And they're like, nah. And there's a nice apartment in New York. I gotten invited, and I'm like, man, I'm in the wrong house, right? And they're like, nah, let's just play with little macaronis and no money. I was like, now I'm in the wrong house in the opposite direction.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
This has become totally uninteresting.
I mean, I'm all in.
Right, yeah. Oh, is this for pride? Okay, anyways.
So I bought this jacket at Carroll & Company, which is now out of business. I bought it like 2 weeks ago. And Carroll and Company has been
they're having the same money management issues you do.
70 years in Beverly Hills. They moved locations, but they were, my dad, I didn't know this when I went there, but I'd been in many times. I have lunch on Fridays nearby, and I go by for some Fridays, and I go, and I always drop in. But everything is like, this jacket was $1,500, and the other one I like is $1,300. I mean,
that's expensive.
It's right. Come on. I would never buy a jacket like this too. It's like patterned, whatever. It's just it wouldn't. But I, even though I like it, but I would never buy it. And then they're going out of business. I read they're going out of business. I go across the street, and this jacket was like $400, and the other one was $300, and I was like, okay.
You can't afford to not buy it.
Right now, I can't afford to not buy it. And then I tell my brother, like, hey man, I'm becoming you. I had to buy these things. I got this one jacket that I would never, and I'm telling him about it because he's a sartorially inclined, and he says, well, Carroll and Company, he goes, that's where I bought my first tie. Like our father took him in and he bought his first tie at Carroll and Company. And then my dad used to shop there and a guy took care of him, which is weird because my dad was a slob, right? But I guess there was a time when he tried to look better, and everybody in the 70s, that was not a great time to look good. And if you wanted to dress in a suit and tie. Yeah. And then he said that when George McGovern ran for president, my dad ran his campaign, that with Gary Hart, that McGovern was from South Dakota and sort of looked like he was from dressed like he was from South Dakota, but he was about to run this national campaign. So my dad took George McGovern to Carroll and Company and was like, come on,
spiff him up,
take care of this guy, make him look cosmopolitan, and it worked, and George McGovern became president.
At least he got the nomination.
But it was just nice to sort of learn that there was this sort of rich family history with a store that I had no idea about. But I'm glad I got in there, and I'm glad I got a couple of jackets from there.
That's great. Well, actually, your brother and I are connected in clothing and Roger Stone, as you know.
Right. Although
Roger Stone, I think it was last year, put both me and Josh on his best dressed, worst dressed list. You're gonna be shocked to find out I was on the worst dressed list.
Roger Stone had a list?
Roger Stone, well, he's very spiffy. I mean, he's almost a joke, the way he dressed. He looks like a clown. But he loves clothes, and my brother on air, it's less so now, but my brother was always extremely well dressed. He just doesn't have to anymore because fashions have changed. But I thought you're connected by Roger Stone because my brother and Roger Stone were friends. And I can curse on this show, right?
Yes.
And Roger Stone told you a bunch of times to go yourself.
Well, we're also connected in that way.
Yeah.
By the way, to be fair to Josh Mankiewicz, he is no longer friends with Roger Stone.
Yeah, like Roger was this sort of political operative in New York and a dirty trickster, but full of stories. I suspect, I don't know this in any way.
He might be kind of a funny guy to hang out with, right?
I think definitely a funny guy to hang out with, and full of crazy stories about Nixon and about politics. And if you even watch Get Me Roger Stone, if you take away what we know about Roger Stone now and you remove the lunacy of Alex Jones and the likely criminal behavior, that movie, like you're like, this guy, I mean, he took down Elliot Spitzer, right? I mean, he's good at his job, right? His job is evil, but he is a
character.
He's a character. Yeah. That's right. That's the safest way to put it. So I could see being friends with him, but now, of course, he's just some horrible monster.
Yeah.
Who's bad? By the way, I just want to say, in case he ever hears this, who disgraces the United States of America, brings shame to us all by being from the same country. Go on.
Okay. So as I was saying, I was on his worst dressed list the same year that Josh, Ben's brother, who's on Dateline, obviously. It was on his best dressed list, so that's what we share in common. But on Roger Stone, look, I love characters. And so if you're a wild right-wing character, like, you know what? Benny Johnson was in the news today. So he got hired by Talking Points USA. That's Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens' group, can't stand it. Benny Johnson has been fired from several different places, including conservative outlets, for plagiarizing. So he's like, but wait. Let me try it one more time.
But Benny Johnson is a character. Like in person, it's very hard to dislike Benny Johnson.
That's right. That's where I was going with it. Yeah. Benny's a fun guy. I know him a little bit. We moderated a debate together once. Very hard to dislike him. Okay.
Yeah, I did a thing with him at the convention there. He's funny, and I followed him on Twitter. And then following him on Twitter, you're like, oh.
So I didn't know this. Apparently, Charlie Kirk had plagiarized Benny Johnson on Twitter, and he just hired him.
Is that right?
Yes.
Charlie Kirk plays.
Yeah, that's right. So it's this crazy world. But Benny, you disagree with him. He has crazy ideas, etc. But he never hurt anybody, as far as I know, right? Personally,
Not like Roger.
But Roger Stone, that's not a character I'm interested in. There are some people that are core evil, and you don't want to get anywhere near them, man. It's toxic. Like you get that, like if you're in the same room, they're gonna find a way to screw you. It's like you just don't want to be in that room. It's like almost like the witch from Last Kingdom in the last season. Skade, right? Just don't talk to her.
Wait, hold on. You're in season 3 now?
Yeah. So that's my guilty pleasure. So that's what I was gonna. That's another topic I was gonna. Apparently, we're never gonna get to politics. Okay, so Anna's celebrating now, but yeah, like don't. There's a couple of guys, and there's another alt-right guy whose name I don't want to mention. Don't ever be in the same room as that guy because you're gonna make the mistake of letting up at some point and thinking, oh, we're having a good time. He told a crazy story. I'll tell 10% of that story. No, he'll use it against you later, right? And he will do things that you cannot believe that he did, right? Don't go anywhere near those guys. So anyway, so my guilty pleasure is now, like I'm starting to get tired, which never, you know me, that never happens to me. But now, like on the 14th hour of a day, I'll be like, I'm out of gas. I'm done. I'm just pulling up, right? I got 3 more emails to do. I gotta look at a budget. I've got to have that budget done by the morning, but I'm done. So I'll go and watch Last Kingdom. Yesterday I watched an episode and a third, which to a normal person is like, what? But to me, I'm like, oh my God, how luxurious was that?
Did you fall asleep?
Are you familiar with the show?
Only because he bores me with it. But it's called The Last Kingdom, is it?
It's called The Last Kingdom. Yeah. And I was
you got him into it?
I was patient zero in infecting my entire friend group with The Last Kingdom.
It's probably very good. I'll watch it.
I freaking love it.
Yeah. So no, and
what's it on?
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
But it's not a Netflix show, or is it a Netflix?
Well, yes and no. So the first season was done by the BBC.
Okay.
And then season 2 and 3 was done by Netflix. And you can see the difference in production quality. It's amazing because
it got more. They spent more money.
So much better.
Yeah.
Like better all around, writing, acting, just the cinematography. All of it's like noticeably better. And the funny thing is,
season 1 was fun.
It was yes, totally good.
I got you.
I didn't even know that was a history. I was like, wow, why did they suck in season 1 in terms of production quality, but improve so much? And then I found out that's why.
Right.
Yeah. So last night. So I had a third of an episode left. I watched that, and that's when I should have gone to bed, and it was kind of late, and because I had done the State of the Union here last night, and then I had to do a bunch of you guys. Anyway, and I was like, I'm gonna watch another episode. I almost looked around like, is anybody seeing me? Is anybody seeing me? I'm gonna watch another episode. And it felt so good.
Now that we've opened this can of worms, let's just get into it. Okay. So I watched the show The Last Kingdom. It's about the history of England in like the late 700s, 800, in the 800s when the Danes came over and just basically wreaked havoc. I mean, they just the English.
The Danes.
Yeah.
No, that's why it's fun in the beginning. When everybody's like, the Danes are coming, you're like, and? Right? Like, are they bringing biscuits?
That sounds great.
Right.
Are they bringing Danishes? Yeah.
Right. But of course they're Vikings, so
they're
just marauders. And think about it, like these are the people who made it over to England to rape and pillage. They were the ones that are the biggest risk takers. Who were
like your friend?
They're the biggest.
Right. They would hit on a 19. These people for sure.
Okay. Right. And they drew some twos. That's right.
And they sailed the open seas, and the weak ones died, and the ones who got there were so ready to murder and rape and just take whatever they can. So these poor English peasants had no chance. They're just getting slaughtered. But the problem with the Vikings is that it's one thing to take a town, but it's hard to keep it, and the English had numbers. And there's a story about, the king of England who kind of rallied the English against the Danes. And I don't know anything about the English history at the time. Of course, I'm sure the show isn't perfectly accurate.
I took a year of English history, and I don't.
And it's called The Last Kingdom because there were actually 4 kingdoms. There's East Anglia, Northumbria, and Mercia. And then they're all falling to the Danes, and Wessex is the last kingdom and it's a great story. And they're just, and then here's what we did. So I got everyone to watch it. They were all watching it right before our big annual guys trip. And me and this one other guy were the 2 main guys, like loving the show and pushing it. We're making all these references to the show, and we're with this big text chain. And everything is, lines from the show. We're acting so goofy and stupid. And then
really, in what way?
Yeah. And then the funny thing is, we assign characters for each of us. So I got to be the main character, Uhtred, who's a warrior.
Hey, that's great.
It's great. It gets worse. Okay. So then this is obviously not a real thing, right?
Really?
But some guys who are assigned a character that's not that cool, we're so bummed out. They're like, oh, I don't want to be so and so. So and so is not that cool, right? And then during dinner, I said, you know what? I'm gonna upgrade you to this other character. He's like, yes, and they're totally happy. And then Cenk, who's so busy with so much stuff, felt this significant pressure to watch at least some of the show before the trip started because he didn't want to miss out on all the jokes.
Right.
So he did. He watched a bunch of episodes before the trip.
I watched. I calculated.
I mean, when your friends are all role playing and you can't role play, it's a bummer. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know which furry I was supposed to get dressed up as, so I had to find out. Don't worry, Ben. It turned out I was Ragnar the Fearless.
Oh, my good. It's a good name.
No, he wasn't. We get the worst character possible, and then he just insisted that he be Ragnar the Fearless.
Yes, because I love that he goes down swinging. He kills.
He gets killed off immediately.
He does, but he kills 3 dudes while on fire.
Well, that's pretty good. I like the idea of then being Ragnar the Fearless because he goes down early, so you could just stop the role playing. All right, great. I'm Ragnar the Fearless. All right. I'm going to order something else to eat. And,
by the way, Ragnar the Fearless.
Please remove me from this text list. I'm dead. Yeah.
Ragnar the Fearless. Risk taker. He was fearless.
He's a big risk taker, yeah.
Well, and got himself lit on fire.
That's right, got a 29. That's right.
He went out with a 29, that's right. Okay, so look, YouTube guys, normally we do politics on the Young Turks. This is old school. This is obviously where we shoot the shit a little bit more and have some fun. But we are gonna do some politics. The podcast guys are hanging in here. The members are obviously, I get to watch the whole show. The whole thing is 90 minutes. Come watch it with us if you're a member, tyt.com/join. But if you want a free trial for a week, you go to tyt.com/trial. And then just watch this old school one if you like it. Watch the whole thing and talk a little bit about Elizabeth Warren and my favorite Amy Klobuchar. Klobuchar
Klobuchar the Fearless.
Well, apparently, because she might already be out. That's partly what we're going to talk about.
But the interesting thing, just about real quick for the YouTube audience, is that this was what we thought the show was going to be.
Yeah, the Young Turks originally.
When Cenk and I started it in 2002, it was going to be this kind of conversation, like a little politics and then this.
Yeah, that's why it's called old school, because that's what we used to do back in the day, which is now our 17th anniversary is coming up next week.
Oh, is that right?
Isn't that amazing? We started this 17 years ago. Yeah, and slightly depressing. Okay, all right, YouTube, bye-bye. All right, thanks for watching this free clip of Old School. Don't forget to become a TYT member today for the rest of the show and for more exclusive content throughout the network. Join now at tyt.com/join.
We found television's best kept secret, a public access